Hi guys, welcome to the AB Auto channel. So today I'm going to be replacing the lower control arm on the Puma because at low speeds I'm getting like a clunk clunk kind of sound coming from the front right of the car, and I believe it's the ball joint that's causing the issue. So I'm going to be jacking the car up, showing you how to do that. So to make life easier, it's always best to loosen the lug nuts before you jack the car up, because once you jack the car up you haven't got the weight of the car and the grip of the tyres to stop the wheel moving round. So it's best to just loosen these lug nuts, just slacken them off with a breaker bar. Like that. And then now we can jack the car up. Now I've got the axle stand underneath there supporting it. If the trolley jack was to fail, the car still isn't going to go anywhere. So next I'm going to take these lug nuts off, remove the wheel, and then I'll try and show you on camera how it's making this clunking sound. Okay, so I'm going to try and get you in now to try and replicate the noise for you. So the actual issue is the ball joint in the lower control arm end here that's making the sound. So all this here is the lower control arm, or it's called a wishbone. So I'm going to push down here on both ends here and see if you can hear the clunking. So if you can hear that, there's like play in the wheel bearing, not the wheel bearing, sorry, the ball joint inside of here. So what I need to do is I need to take the brake caliper off, remove the brake disc. It'll just give me better access. Then I'm going to spray penetrating oil on all the bolts so that it'll make it easier to remove them. So time to get this caliper off. It's going to be a bit hot still because I've literally just driven the car. So I'm going to wear gloves to protect my hands from the heat. Not showing you how to do the brakes because I've already done that, but it's basically the same thing, just removing the brake caliper. And then I'm going to use an S hook to attach it to the spring, so that it's, because I don't want to put too much tension on the brake hose because then it will damage it. So that's why I hang it up here, and then just slide off the brake disc, which is still a bit hot, and then just put that somewhere safe for now. So now you've got more room to access this bolt here and the two bolts there. So now I'm going to put some penetrating oil on them all, because they haven't been removed in God knows how many years. So in the UK we have something called WD-40, which basically stands for water displacement, and then the number 40 is the 40th formula when they got it right. So that's why it's called WD-40, and it's basically just like a penetrating oil. It helps you get off sticky bolts and stuff like that. So after I've applied some of this, so the first bolt I'm going to be removing is this one here, and then on the other side you'll see there. So best I use a spanner and a socket to remove that one. I'm going to get you in nice and close here to show you. So we've got a 17 on this side, and it's most likely going to be a 17 on the other side as well. Okay, so I'm actually going to use the impact driver on one end, and I'm just going to use the ratchet on this end to get this off. So sometimes you'll notice what happens is when you try and remove a bolt, it will get stuck right on the very last thread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a 17mm spanner on this side so that I can fully remove it. So that is now off, and then what I find is good practice is if you put the nut back on the bolt you've removed, so then you can't get things lost when you put them back on. So now this ball joint will free from here. Well, it will do with a bit of help from a hammer or something. So I'm going to whack on this side here and on the other side to remove it. So now it's out. See, it's this ball joint in here that's gone, and already I can see there's a lot of play in there, which means it's just had enough. So next there is a bolt. Let's see if I can get this in on camera. There's this one here, which is going to be the same process. Put a spanner on this side, and I'll have to use another, or I can use a impact on this side and use a spanner on that side to remove it. And then the next bolt is hidden underneath there. I don't think it will focus. Right, so just behind this wheel arch cover, you can see there's a bolt in there, and then underneath here, and then it's the same process to remove that. Then this whole lower control arm should just slide out. So I'm going to do that now. Oh, that just seems to be rounding off. So I'm going to try a 15 socket. how tight that bolt was in. I think I've freed it loose enough to use the impact now. So that is the nut to it. I think I'm going to give these all a good clean before I put them on, because they're all covered in a lot of gunk and stuff. So this is what happens when you don't wear gloves. You get your hands all covered in lovely dirt and grease. So this bolt is now wriggling out. And there we have it. Then I'm going to attach that nut to this so it stays where we need it. So just one more nut to go now, that one in there. So I'm going to try my best to show you on camera. It's going to be a bit difficult, obviously, with that wheel arch liner in the way. So the idea is I need to get a nut in there. Well, I'm going to have to use the spanner side actually. And I think it's going to be another 18, this one. Yeah, it's another 18. And then it might be another 16 underneath. Yeah, so luckily it's the same size as the other one. We're going to give that socket a gentle tap on. Just so I know it's fully on there, because I don't want to strip any more nuts or bolts. And then we use the breaker bar, because I believe this one's going to be in very tight. So I should be able to get it off the rest of the way with the impact driver now. So that's that bolt out. And that's the nut. Put this onto the bolt. So what I tend to do is I put all the nuts and bolts that I've removed in like an order that they were. So like, for example, this one was on the right hand side, so I know it goes back on the right hand side. And then that one I've just removed. So that one goes obviously where I've just taken it off, and then this is where it attaches to the wheel hub, so I keep that like underneath, so then I know what order they go back on. So now I should just be able to remove this lower control arm. So actually I'm going to get you in from the other side if I can. And comes the lower control arm, or it's called a wishbone because it's in the shape of a wishbone. So this was the issue. Yeah, there's lots of play in there. And yeah, when I pull up and down, there's actually a lot of movement in there. So the ball joint inside of here has actually perished, and I think also because there was a tear in it, I think it allowed a lot of I think it just allowed a lot of dirt to go inside there, and then when a lot of dirt goes inside there, then it basically strips all the lubrication from inside here. Because if I was to tear this boot completely open, which I'm going to try and do, but there's basically just, there's inside here is just like a knuckle, like a ball on the end of this bit here that goes inside here, and it's just a socket where it just sits inside, and it shouldn't have that much play on there. So I'm going to get the new one and install that, and it's just a simply reverse process of putting it back on. So guys, this is the new lower control arm by engineered in the UK, BJ Automotive, steering suspension components, because it is a suspension component. So get it out the bag, and nice brand new one. And as you can see, when I remove this protective dust cap off here, there's there's no play in that at all. It's lovely and stiff, and that's how it should be. And then I'm just going to put it in reverse how the other one came out. Okay, so basically it's just the reverse process, putting it back in as I took it out. So I'm wearing gloves again because I've cleaned the nuts and bolts, and I just want everything to be nice and clean when I'm putting it back on. So get the lower control arm, and then this bit goes in this way first, and trying to line the holes up. So it's going to be a bit tricky getting it into this side. So I'm using a bit of gentle persuasion with the hammer, and then he just swings round. In fact, I'm going to put the bolt through it to secure it in place so it doesn't move on this side. So this is where things get a bit tricky, because you have to line the holes up. So I need to align that hole up. That's why you need to start off over here, because you need to be able to wriggle it. You need it to be flat surface. Yeah, so this is the hardest bit, getting this side in first, because it's a bit Yes, I'm going to have to pull it back out a bit. Yeah, it's completely off where it needs to be now. Right, let's have another go. Bit more that way. It's actually too far to the left. Don't know how well you can see there, but it needs to be more to the right hand side for me to get it in. So I'm not going to bore you with that, so I'll come back when I've managed to get that side in and put the bolt on, and then I'll finish off the rest for you. So I've managed to get that side in, so swing the control arm over and into here. It doesn't want to go around. Oh, it doesn't seem to want to go in this side. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hammer this piece here more over to the left to try and get it in. But usually it should just slide straight in there. Right, I'll get back to you when I've sorted that out. So guys, I've managed to get it in. So what I found is I actually had to detach, I had to take the bolt out the other side again, on the left hand side, and then while the other bolt was out, I managed to wriggle this side in and get it in here. I've put the bolt through, so now I need just to put the nut on the other side to secure it, and then the nut on the other side. So I just need to put the nut back on top there and then tighten them two up, and then I've got the lower ball joint into here, so I'm just going to give this a little tap. Like that. Now it's fully seated inside there. So then I'm going to get the little bolt and then put it through there. This secures it makes a grip here onto the lower ball joint here, so then this doesn't move around. And then after you've tightened the other two nuts on the other side, So the one goes down there and the other one on top of here, just on top of there. Tighten them two bolts up, tighten this one up here, and that's pretty much it. That's the lower control arm replaced, and then I shouldn't have any more knocking sound coming from there. So that is how to replace the lower control arm on a Ford Puma. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. It was a bit tricky to get that left hand side in, but then obviously after you've tightened those bolts, just put the brake disc and the brake caliper back on. I'm not going to show you to do that because it's a bit boring, and also I've already shown you how to do that in the Brembo brake video. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It would really help my channel out. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Have a nice day.